Hello, welcome. So today we're taking a little dive into r/BestofRedditorUpdates, and for this one we have some family beef of mega proportions. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions I give on the posts we read are just opinions, not facts, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, do feel free to leave it in the comments below. Just make sure you're keeping it friendly. There is no need to be mean with anyone you do not agree with. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this first one was posted by Choice Evidence 1983. Am I the butthole for cutting off my daughter after she slept with her sister's husband? My goodness. So, of course, Choice Evidence is not the original poster. The original poster is u/RemoteWar7356, originally posted in r/I the butthole relationships on July 3rd, 2026. So pretty bloody recent. Choice Evidence is the person who compiled it together for us like a lovely wee bean. So, OP says, I, 59F, have two daughters, Emma, 35, and Chloe, 33F. Emma has been married to her husband, 36M, for 11 years, and they have two children together. Chloe has been married to her husband, 34M, for 8 years, and they have one 5-year-old son. About 6 weeks ago, Emma called me just after midnight, completely hysterical. She told me that she suspected for months that her husband was hiding something. He'd become distant, constantly guarded his phone, and was always finding excuses to stay at work late. That night, after he fell asleep beside her, she looked through his phone for the first time. She found years of explicit messages between him and Chloe. Oh my goodness. The affair had been going on for almost 4 years. Emma was devastated, and she kept asking me how her own sister could do this to her. Yeah, and it's like, not only has Chloe done this to her sister, she's done it to her own husband too. So she's like a double mega butthole. A few days later, we were at my brother's birthday party when Emma confronted Chloe outside. Chloe denied everything at first and insisted Emma had misunderstood. When Emma said she had read the messages herself, Chloe completely fell apart. She started crying, you don't really have a right to cry, but okay, admitted the affair and kept repeating, I don't know why I did it. I'm so sorry. It was the biggest mistake of my life. A mistake is like dropping a cup. A mistake is writing the wrong name on an email to somebody. Like, having a full-on affair for 4 years is not a mistake. That is a continuous show of character, I would say. Emma asked how 4 years could possibly be a mistake. Chloe had no answer. The argument escalated into a screaming match. Chloe tried to slap Emma. Oh, Chloe would catch these hands, I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. But several relatives stepped in before she could. Chloe's husband quietly took their son home after realizing what happened. Within days, he told Chloe he wanted a divorce. Emma has also filed for divorce after her husband admitted everything. After it all came out, Chloe called me 82 times in one day. I answered once because I hoped she was calling to explain herself. Instead, she cried the entire time, begging me not to abandon her. She said she'd already lost her husband, was probably going to lose shared custody of her son, and couldn't bear losing her mother too. Literally, Chloe, all you had to do was not shag your sister's husband, and then you would have been fine. Are you expecting people to feel bad for you? She said she knew she didn't deserve forgiveness, but begged me not to hate her forever. I told her I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. I said this wasn't one bad decision, it was years of lying to her sister, her husband, and the rest of us. I told her I loved her because she's my daughter, but I didn't want contact with her for the foreseeable future. Since then, I've ignored every attempt she's made to reach out. This is where my family thinks I'm wrong. My sister says Chloe has already lost everything, her marriage, her relationship with her sister, many of her friends, and likely the family she dreamed of giving her son. Then she shouldn't have slipped and fell on her sister's husband. Like, why are we acting like she didn't bring this all upon herself? They say she's genuinely remorseful, has started individual therapy, and isn't trying to justify what she did. They argue that if a mother won't stand by her child after they've hit rock bottom, who will? Yeah, but there's a difference between hitting rock bottom and just being an absolutely terrible person, isn't there? You can hit rock bottom and not be an awful shitty person who sleeps with your sister's husband. They also remind me that cutting Chloe off means my grandson is growing up without his grandmother, even though he's done nothing wrong. I understand all of that, and how do we know the husband's not gonna let OP see the kid? He might be, really reasonable and still allow that to happen. But every time I think about welcoming Chloe back into my life, I picture Emma reading those messages alone in the middle of the night, realizing the two of the people she trusted the most had been lying to her for years. I don't know if I can move past that. My family says I'm punishing Chloe for something she already deeply regrets. I feel like I'm simply refusing to pretend it never happened. Am I the butthole? Absolutely not. She only deeply regrets it because now her life is falling apart. Like, that is it. Like, she's not remorseful. She's just sad for herself. Like, I'm sorry, but there's just no way you can have a 4-year consistent ongoing affair and then be all of a sudden remorseful the minute you get found out. No, I do not believe that for a second. She's just feeling sorry for herself. I know a lot of people are used to seeing cheating posts and always think they are fake, but what would you do if you were in my shoes? Relevant to top comments. Commenter 1, not the butthole, she's not genuinely remorseful. She's sad she got caught and is facing consequences. Can't you have a relationship with your grandson via his father? Tell your sisters to mind their own business. This is between you and your daughters, nothing to do with them. OOP says, I can kind of have a relationship with him, but the problem is that he wants his child to grow up closer to his own family who lives in another city, rather than his ex-wife's family. I mean, yeah, but you still get to have a relationship with him. He's still obviously said, by that I'm taking it that he will facilitate a relationship, so you take what you can get in that moment, don't you? And at the end of the day, so commenter 2 says, I mean, I personally can't think of anything my kid would do that would cause me to cut her off permanently, but I would probably take a break for a while to organize my feelings. There is 1,000% nothing that could happen that would make me willing to cut off my grandkid. What Chloe did was unforgivable, but what I would ask you, how would you feel if something happened to Chloe right now? How would you feel? If you don't feel anything, then you have your answer about what you want to do. No, see, I disagree. Having people in your life just because you care about them and care about, well, if something happened to them, but they are absolutely a toxic influence to have in your life, it is not a good enough reason to keep them close or keep them part of your life. I would be disgusted too, because I look at people who cheat with absolute disgust. So I feel like, obviously me now is saying this, I would be absolutely disgusted by them. So yeah, I can understand why the OP might be feeling incredibly just at the moment about being around her, because it is an abhorrent thing to do. It's not just cheating, it was a 4-year affair with her sister's husband, knowing obviously that her sister has 3 kids as well, so ruining their lives, doing it against her own husband, ruining her kid's life as well. Like, what the hell? OOP then says, it depends on what happens to her. If she's struggling with her mental health or got into an accident, I would obviously help her like a mother would. I admit I might have been harsh when I told her for the foreseeable future, but I was thinking of my daughter Emma and how she would be feeling right now. I love both my daughters equally from the moon and back, but I am just torn in this decision. And I think a lot of people seem to forget as well that you can love someone, but you don't have to like them or the person that they are or be around them, you know? Commenter 3 says, not the butthole. You have a daughter that has been completely destroyed by her own sister and her own husband. She's the one that needs your support, not the one that chose to cheat on her husband with her own sister's husband. She made the conscious decision for 4 years. That's not forgivable in my eyes. She made the decision, she can face her own consequences. I'm sure her soon-to-be ex will still allow you to be part of your grandson's life. Reach out to him and let him know you are not speaking to her, and just be there for Emma and her kids. OOP says, thank you so much. I have reached to him but haven't heard anything back yet. OOP responds to a long comment on if it's possible for Chloe to lose full custody of her son because she's cheated. OOP says she might not. Her ex-husband wants to move far away from all of this. He wants to move to his own side of the family, which lives in a different city. It would be hard for Chloe to be there for her son unless she moves with him or gets an apartment there, which I don't think she would unless she really wants to see her son. Commenter 4, so she would rather lose her son than move to be near him? There is nothing on this earth that would prevent me from fighting tooth and nail to keep my kids. Yeah, to be fair, even though Chloe has cheated, I don't think there is like legal recourse to say she cheated so you lose custody completely of your child. Like, I imagine there'd be like some sort of 50-50 or 75-25 thing going on for either or. I can't see that would be a reason a court would be like, yeah, you lose custody completely. I know that wouldn't happen here anyway. How far away is his family? She can absolutely file an emergency stay order to keep the kids locally until custody is settled. And wrong by her or not, most courts will put the children's needs first. Courts tend to prioritise joint custody regardless of what dad or mum thinks. Unless one parent is willing to sign rights away, she needs a lawyer ASAP. If she is willing to walk away from her son without a fight, then he is better off without her. And that tells me a little bit more of her character, and it makes me even less sympathetic to her than I already was. OOP says, we are in Florida and his family is in Washington. Commenter 5 says, not the butthole. Chloe is only regretful because she's being caught. Bingo, exactly. We are on the same page, you and I, Commenter 5. It's not like it was a one-time thing for even a couple months. It was 4 years. Yeah, that's a long-term relationship, 4 years. That requires active decision-making to not only continue the affair, but to hide it from her husband and her family. I think space right now is definitely needed. Try to find a way to stay in contact with your grandson's father, and I personally believe if you cut out Chloe, that it makes things easier for your ex-son-in-law to trust and allow you to visit if he gets sole custody. She is an adult and has to live with her choices. I wouldn't be able to speak with my sibling if they did this to me. I think as a parent, you love your child no matter what, and you still can, but I don't think you're the butthole to cut contact with Chloe. Whether it is permanent or not is up to you. Chloe made this choice and these are the consequences. She lost everything because her and Emma's husband destroyed each other's lives and marriages. That's the worst thing you can do to a sibling. And then commenter 6 says, not the butthole. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated and prolonged affair with the man her own sister loved and married. That's not to mention the betrayal to the man she herself married, which is a second level of despicable. Chloe isn't genuinely remorseful. She's genuinely wishing she hadn't obliterated her entire support circle in one fell swoop. She's crying that she has to face consequences. She would have kept it going for who knows how long if this has ever come out. Yeah, and don't forget as well, Chloe is that much up her own backside thinking that she's in the right. She tried to slap Emma. Should have been Emma giving her the one too, thank you. That she denied it at first is all you need to know that she doesn't feel a shred of remorse. She just doesn't want to lose you along with everyone else in her life. Whether she does is entirely up to you. I personally could never look at my child the same way if they felt so utterly callous about betraying the two people he's supposed to love the most in the world. Exactly. I think the same, to be honest. So we have an update 3 days later. I know it's very early for me to post an update, and I wasn't planning on it, but after reading the comments on my first post, I decided I needed one final conversation with Chloe before I completely closed the door. I went to her house yesterday, and I expected her to be emotional after calling me 82 times in one day, but she was surprisingly calm. I asked her the one question I still couldn't understand. Why? She admitted that she'd been attracted to Emma's husband for years. She said what started as admiration eventually became feelings, and over time they crossed a line. Instead of ending it, they kept convincing themselves that it would be the last time. She insisted she regretted everything. I asked if she'd spoken to Emma. She told me the only contact she'd had was one text before Emma blocked her on everything. Emma told her that she'd destroyed her family, taken away her child's stable home, and that she hoped the affair had been worth losing a sister forever, because as far as she was concerned, Chloe no longer had one. Emma blocked her immediately afterwards. Chloe also admitted she later waited outside the school gates hoping to speak to Emma when she came to collect the kids. Emma refused to speak to her, warned her to stay away from her and the children, and told her that if she ever approached them again, she'd regret it. Chloe left crying. Oh no, boo-hoo. I told Chloe her waiting outside the school was completely inappropriate regardless of her intentions. She insisted she only wanted to apologise and prove she cared about Emma. I then asked her if she truly felt remorse. That's when I completely lost my patience. Instead of taking full responsibility, Chloe started telling me Emma's marriage had already been falling apart, that Emma and her husband had been drifting apart for years, and that he often confided in her. She admitted the affair was wrong, but repeatedly tried to place part of the blame on Emma. Yeah, that shows what an absolute shitbag Chloe is, doesn't it? Saying if their marriage had been happier, none of this would have happened. Oh, mate, no, absolutely not. I was furious. Yeah, I bet. I honestly couldn't believe I raised someone capable of thinking like that. I told her there is no marriage bad enough to justify secretly sleeping with your own sister's husband for 4 years. I told her I wasn't just disappointed, I was ashamed that she was my daughter. The more she tried to justify herself, the angrier I became. The conversation eventually turned to her own divorce. She talked about how difficult everything had been for her and how her husband still plans to move to Washington with their son to be closer to their family. I don't think it's been difficult enough, to be honest. She said she may have to move there too if she wants to stay close to him. As she spoke, I realised almost everything was about what she had lost: her marriage, her home, her reputation, and possibly seeing her son every day. Very little of it was about Emma or the damage she caused. Yeah, because this woman is so self-centered, it's unreal. At the end of the conversation, Chloe asked if we were cool now. I told her no, we were not cool, and we might never be. I said that if I ever found it in my heart to reconcile with her, it would be on my terms and in my own time, not because she thought one conversation could erase 4 years of lies and betrayal. I walked out feeling angrier than when I arrived. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I love both of my daughters, but after that conversation, I'm not convinced Chloe truly understands the pain she caused. And again, you can love someone, does not mean you have to like them. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, why does the other woman always believe the "my marriage is falling apart and I'm not actually close to my wife" bullshit every single time? Because they don't really believe it. It's just a way to excuse their terrible behavior in their own head. It's a way for them to tell themselves, I'm not being an awful person because it's falling apart anyway. Like, yeah, it's just a cope, basically. That's what it is. We all know this man would have happily remained in his marriage with his side chick sister-in-law forever if Emma didn't find out. Hell, he's probably begging Emma in text to give him another chance, and that Chloe means nothing to him. Tale as old as time, but the women keep falling for it. Baffling. OOP then says, I'm pretty sure there might be a final part 3. I'm not sure how many parts I can keep making before Reddit says otherwise. Emma and her husband did have some problems, but they were mostly, if not always, minor and nothing serious. Yeah, what relationship doesn't have issues cropping up now and then? I am still trying to process how it was going on for 4 years without anyone knowing. And then commenter 2 says, I read the first post and I am still confused at why Emma's husband's behaviour changed all of a sudden if it was going on for 4 years. Why did he suddenly become cagey, defensive and hiding his phone if it's been going on for the last 4 years? Maybe Chloe was putting on the pressure for him to leave Emma. OOP says, because Emma was all of a sudden curious and had a feeling he was cheating on her. I think he sensed that and didn't want the secret to be found out. Commenter 3, Chloe and Em's husbands are still seeing each other and now free to be together. Chloe and Em's husband are still seeing each other and now free to be together. Why did they stay in their marriages if they were so unhappy? OOP says, Chloe told me that her and Emma's husband haven't talked since. She texted him, but he never responded. Good. Commenter 4 says, not the boat hole. Chloe honestly sounds like a narcissist. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but I think it fits here. Think about it if you think I'm overreacting. In order to be able to cheat, you'll have to put your empathy to your partner and others who might be affected by it aside and let your ego win. Chloe had to do this multiple times for 4 years. Who knows how many times they cheated? It could be over 100 times. And Chloe had to put aside everyone's feelings in favour of her own. Her victims were husband, sister, son, nieces and nephews, and mother. All of those are people she's supposed to love the most. The fact that she was able to do this over and over again to people she claims to love is honestly deeply disturbing. And then for her to only care about herself afterwards, again, I think she's a narcissist. I do not think she truly has empathy. I think she can fake it, and I think she has done that all the time, but I don't think she actually has it. Maybe she thinks she does. She doesn't seem to feel guilt and remorse, and she sounds incredibly entitled and delusional since she can't accept the fact that her relationship with her sister is over for good, and that your relationship to her will be forever affected in some type of way. She decided to break her sister's boundaries by showing up to her kid's school. Sorry, I think you just saw who your daughter actually is deep down. I would honestly be a bit scared of my child if they did this out of the blue. It would make me question what went wrong and what else have they done that I don't know about. But I'm also very scared of narcissists or just very selfish people in general. Those types of people can really do damage to you that lasts a lifetime. Thankfully, I've never had any experiences with these people, but my god, they seem terrifying. What was her father like? Sorry if this is too personal, you don't have to answer. I'm just trying to figure out where she might get it from. I'm a little worried that your family is going too easy on her. I hope they aren't trying to guilt or shame Emma for not wanting to have anything to do with Chloe. And then the OOP says, my husband passed about 7 years ago, but when he was alive, he did give Chloe special treatment because she was the baby of the family. I treated both of my daughters equally, and we often had fights about Chloe due to unfairness, etc. He would do things like make Emma share what was supposed to be hers and give half to Chloe, give Chloe bigger or better items because he didn't want to upset her. We did divorce later on due to something else unrelated, but that did play a huge part. I did try my best to be fair to both my kids, and I genuinely think I was. I'm not trying to blame my late husband here, I'm just saying what he was like. Yeah, that could definitely be a factor, but no, I think if the OP doesn't want to, be around Chloe, she doesn't have to be. I can completely understand why she wouldn't want to be, and also, she's probably worried about what the impact of just quickly forgiving Chloe's behaviour is going to have on Emma, who is the person that really matters right now. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Mordax Tenebrae says, Chloe tried to slap Emma. I'm trying to wrap my head around how the betrayer feels justified in attacking the betrayed during the confrontation. Right? That's the bit that got me. Prudent Solid 3132 says, I'm surprised this wasn't brought up in the comments mentioned or by the OP. Like, if that's one of her first instincts when caught, when it becomes undeniable, yeah, exactly, like lashing out and trying to hit the person that you have betrayed, your victim, when your actions are shown and you can't get away with it anymore, is a creepy reaction, really. Because, I mean, yeah, maybe I watch too much true crime, maybe, but look at these people that try and hide affairs and lash out when it gets to the point where they're getting found out, and they decide to go ahead and, you know, bump people off and put them 6 foot under. So, Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give it a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome! Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Beer Gal. Be sure to tell him what a turd he is for going all AI. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!